class, it's Miss Hamilton. I'm going to be doing a demonstration on how to do impressionist painting. Super quick. There is my reference image up on the smartboard. You should have it on your phones. The drawing is already covered. I have my primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and white on my palette. Paintbrush. I have palette brush.
Palette knife.
Palette knife, thank you, Mr. Flair. Paper towels, and my water. So to get started, I'm just going to kind of lay color where I see it on my image onto my canvas. So there's a lot of purple in there, and purple is made by mixing red and blue. So if you take your palette brush,
Knife.
Geez, every time. You mix the red. I already did a little bit there, but I can add some more. Add some red with a little bit of blue. There we go. You get a deep violet. I'm going to take that color and put it where I see it. So it's on all of the orchids, orchid flowers. And also, because it's an impressionist painting, I'm literally laying the color where I see it with not a whole lot of attention to the fine details of the painting.
So you might say you're just kind of just dabbing it on there.
I'm dabbing on the color, exactly.
Okay.
Putting in the color, dabbing it on. And just for fun, I'm going to add a little white to what I just mixed. Sounds just like Bob Ross.
You gotta do this little sound effects like.
We're not using oil, I can't do all of it. Same brush. And this is just going to add easel. A little bit more dimension to the petals that we already have.
But you're not blending, you're just putting it on there,
Just
right?
putting it on, yep. This thing's about to fall over. Alright, so you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. This thing's about to fall over. So I'm going to make green now. Green is made as a secondary color, made with blue and yellow. This has some purple on it, but that's okay.
Gives it some flavor, right?
Some flavor, exactly. There's some blue. I know you don't have a lot of space, but that's all right.
What kind of hand motions are you doing there with the knife to make?
I am pressing the color because that's really all you can do. I mean, you can wave it back and forth if you want, but then it'll get right on top of the palette knife, which is not really what you want. So I'm more pressing. So you got a nice green.
That is a nice green.
You can add more blue to make it a bit more blue-green, or more yellow if you're going for a lighter color, or some white if you want a lighter green. And then same brush, you can rinse it out with a little water, dab it onto your paper towel. I'm honestly not really going to take a lot of paint out of this brush. And the petals you can't really see, but they're shooting off the bottom.
And how do you know, like, where to move your brush when you put it on there? Like, how do you know that? Like, you just kind of do, right? Or I'm just asking questions for them.
That's great. How do I know where to move my brush?
Yeah, like when you're like you've got paint on your brush and you're about to put it on your canvas. How do you know like how to move your brush? Like do you move it? How do you know to move it down or left or right?
I usually start with one side of where the color starts and move it to where the color ends.
Okay.
So you can go from like top to bottom, left to right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does.
Okay. So I'm starting like where the color kind of starts up here under the petal and moving to where it goes down off the page. It's okay if you have sort of this sweepy motion and not the dots that we're talking about, because this is just the initial layer. When you go back on top, you can add like more of this look
Mm-hmm.
that does kind of more of the impressionism feel to
Mhm.
the leaves, petals.
So what do you do if you mess up? Like
Um,
how do you
this
fix
is
it?
acrylic, so it dries really quickly, and you can just paint on top of it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Add more color. Yeah. Should I keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so there's some yellow in the middle of the petals. Probably can't finish, but yellow is primary color, so we don't have to do any mixing unless you want to make it lighter or darker. And we have white, or you would add its complement, which is, you put on the spot now.
Uh-oh.
Purple. Blue. No.
No.
Purple. No. Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, purple. Purple to make it darker. But I'm not. And still I'm using the same brush. And it's just in the middle of each petal. I'm just dabbing that on the centers of them.
That's cool. You're just dropping it right on there.
Yep. Probably a piece up there.
And how often are you looking at your subject, like when you're doing this?
Pretty often. It's nice to just look at it as often as possible, so when I look away, I know exactly where I'm going with the color.
Okay.
Also, I'm noticing that there's a lot of pink
Mm-hmm.
in these flowers, which means we would just add a little bit more red into our mixture of purple and even a little bit of white.
And you're just using those downward strokes when you're mixing the color, right, with the palette knife.
Yes. So
Just
it doesn't
pushing
get
that
on-
paint under it.
Right. So
That's
it doesn't
cool.
get on top.
So off the top of my head here,
Mhm.
let's say you wanted to make brown. How does one make brown from the primaries?
Brown is a mixture of two complementary colors. So we just mentioned purple and yellow.
Mhm.
So I have both of those, so I could make that really quick because there is brown in the stem of the piece.
Because I know when painting, like a lot of students tend to get like really stuck when they're trying to make a brown or
Yeah,
a skin tone or anything of that nature. So
right. So I'm just going to add yellow to the purple that I have.
all right. So how does that look?
It makes like a
Nice, nice.
tan.
It's definitely a brown.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
Just going to take my palette knife to get off that extra color.
And that's something that most students don't know is when you're throwing the paint on the canvas, you don't have to use a brush every time.
Mm-mm.
You just throw it on with a knife,
Right.
and you get some interesting like textures with a knife.
Yeah. It really doesn't. The Impressionism is not supposed to be super sharp, so it's absolutely fine if like these lines are a little big or a little wonky. Like that's sort of the point of it.
Yeah, it's more about applying the right like color and value in the right place than it is like making sure it's photorealistic.